Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessings and help as we are gathered together. You have showered us with your blessings, and your presence continuously reminds us of your faithfulness and guidance. We pray that you bless all of us so that we may be able to fulfill our task responsibly, that the objectives we have set may all be achieved. Your infinite blessings would mean the success of this webinar. We ask this in the name of the Lord. Amen. A very good afternoon, everyone. I heartily welcome you all to this session. First of all, I would like to thank Reverend Father Principal and Reverend Sister Headmistress for providing me an opportunity to share my knowledge with the SFS family. I would like to thank coordinators for their constant support and guidance. I wish to thank all the participants for their encouragement and for providing me with their valuable feedback and suggestions. In the previous module, we discussed Google Jamboard and its integration in the Google Classroom. In today's module, I will be discussing Google Drawings to create concept maps, and I'll show you everything you need to know about Google Forms. So let us start with Google Drawings. Google Drawing is one of the most underrated applications in Google Workspace for education. A lot of people know about Docs, Slides, Drive. All these are big applications. Google Drawing is overlooked very often and goes unused by most people. Google Drawing is a basic drawing tool that allows users to create drawings and share them with the world. However, today I will show you how to create a mind map using Google Drawings. The process is pretty simple and is probably easier than any other mind mapping tools. So let us learn how to create mind maps, concept map, character maps, word web, flowcharts using Google Drawing. I'm going to present my entire screen. For Google Drawings, now there are two options. First option, you can go to Google App Grid. Look at these 9 dots, Google App Grid. Here, click on Drive. Click on New. Is my screen visible?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, it's not visible.
No, ma'am.
I'll try.
It was visible earlier, yeah.
Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So to start with Google Drawings, first click on these 9 dots, Google App Grid. We will click on this Google App Grid and here click on Drive. Then click on New and here you will see the option More. So as I click on More, there will be few options over here. Just a second. Yes. As I click on More, you see few options, few apps open up over here. So the very first app is Google Drawings over here. So you can start, a blank canvas will open. You can straight away start your Google drawing from here. Second option, go to the classroom. Then this is your class. Go to classwork. Click on Create Assignment. Here, if you have already made a mind map, a concept map you want to share with your students, So you can click on add. From your Google Drive, you can directly attach that mind map from here. Second option is click on create. Here again, various Google apps open up. Over here, you can see Google Drawings. As I click on Google Drawings, a blank canvas will open up in a new window. Now this is Google Drawing canvas. There are various options. It says untitled drawing. So first I'll give a title, Mind Map 1. Now to create mind map, there are various tools over here. So mainly we'll go to insert. Here it's file, edit, view, insert. So as I click on insert, you will see the third icon is shapes. So there are various types of shapes are there, arrows are there, call outs, equations. So I'll go to shapes. So from here, for your mind map, you can pick and choose any shape. So let's say this one, this is the shape I have chosen. Now I can also increase the border weight. So there is an option over here. Over here you see there is an option border weight. So as I click on this border weight, this way you can increase the border weight. Now I want some more shapes like this. So I'll just control and paste. So control C is for copy and control V for paste. So I'm just pressing control V. So I got similar shapes like this. I'm just giving you an example how to create a mind map, and we'll place them like this. You can even select the shape and you can even make it colorful by using the bucket tool. It says fill color. Please look at this option, fill color. So as I click on this fill color, you can choose different colors for the shapes. So here I just select on the shape, fill color, just select whichever color you want to choose. Now we have to connect it. Some connectors should also be there to connect the mind map. Here, please focus on this side, just below format. There is select line. Select line. There is a tool over here. As I click on it, there are various types of connectors are there, like line, arrow, elbow connector, curved connector, curve, polyline, scribble. There are various. So I'm going with the basic one, line. Okay. So now, the moment I chose line as a connector, you will see some So as soon as I bring this over here, there are some reference points. So you just have to connect those two reference points. So if I start from here, I'll just connect it to the second reference point. The moment you bring it close, you will see there are reference points and you can connect them. You can also increase the line width. So there is an option here, line weight. So I can increase the line weight this way. This way I can connect. Look here. And this is how I'm going to connect this mind map. Now with the double tap, you can start typing inside. So I'm just making a very basic mind map. This is how quadrilaterals. Okay, in this chapter, we studied 3 types of quadrilaterals, trapezium, then parallelogram, right? 3 types of parallelogram we have done. Let's say so, rectangle, rhombus, and square. You can even make them bold. Just select here, there is bold. You can increase the size. You can always increase the size. You can increase the size of the box also to fit in. And this way, you can customize the mind map make it bold, italic, whatever text format you want, you can use, because all formatting options are there as we have in docs, and same kind of word options are there. So you can just make it bold like this. You can move the shapes anywhere. You can adjust it, like I am here. If I want to adjust it a little far, you can adjust it. Very easy to move, very easy to connect. So this is how a mind map can be created. Now, once your mind map is ready, you would like to share it with your students as a viewable file. You want them to view this mind map. So then you will, this is the mind map. Okay, now you want to share it with your students as a viewable file. You'll go back to the classroom. That's where we started creating the mind map, right? This is the drawing, untitled drawing it says, but when you assign, it will take the name, because we already given the name mind map 1. Once you assign, the name will appear. Now you would like to share them as a viewable file. Go with the option students can view file, give it a title, whatever the concept, whatever instructions you want them to go through the mind map, you can write here and assign. Second option is that here you can go for students can make a copy for each student. In that case, what you can do is, like, some of the boxes you can leave empty. So then in that case, you can give this as an assignment, as a subject enrichment activity. This is just a basic mind map. Depending upon whatever your concept is, leave some boxes empty. Then go back to the classroom, select an option, make a copy for each student, give them instructions, complete the mind map. So this can be one of the activities, your subject enrichment activities, complete the mind map. Even in class 1 to 5, I've seen science textbooks. They have flow charts, science textbooks also, even social studies also, there are flow charts. So you can assign it to the younger students also. Complete the mind map, give it a title. So when you assign it to the student will receive the blank, this kind of a template. They can simply double click on it, write, and hand in the assignment. So you can give such kind of mind maps as an assignment also, by making a copy for each student. Like we have been doing with other apps, here also, they will receive this. So the moment they open it, they will be able to edit this file. They'll, with the double click, they can write whatever the answer be, and then you can hand in, and you will receive the complete mind map. You can give them grades, assign, and return. Now, this Google Mind Maps, I would like to show you some of the mind maps I have in my Google Drive, because there is too much scope. So please give me 1 minute. I'll just show you. Yes. From my Google Drive, I would like to show you. Now look at this. This is like cause and effect chain. You know, you can assign it to the student. Anything in science you want to cause and effect. So from here, I'll just zoom it. Yes, so this is what has been made with the help of Google Drawing. This is a template you can assign to the students, cause, effect. This way you can assign. Next option is, like in languages, character map. Character map is something like, insert the text here, what the character says and does. First of all, the title. So this is a blank template. You can assign, make a copy for each student. The students will fill in the template. What the character says and does, what others think about the character. So these shapes are all taken from Google Drawing only. So with the help of Google Drawing, you can assign such maps. This is a character map. Then I would like to show you this fishbone planner map. This is also made using Google Drawing. Here, insert your title here, topic here, advantages and disadvantages. I'll zoom and show you advantages and disadvantages. So you can assign the topic and tell them to fill like this. There are 5 blanks, so you can give them there are 4 or 5 blanks you can make, and it can be a 5-mark subject enrichment activity, advantages and disadvantages. So this type of a map is called fishbone planner. This is one of the options. So these are all blank templates. You can also create them. It's all created using the boxes, the colors, the connectors. There are so many types of connectors are there. You can use that and assign it as an activity, or maybe you can fill and give them as a reading material, as a teaching material. Now, I'll also show you this one. Flow chart. This is a flow chart which you can, this also can be assigned. Insert the title here, then text goes here, and here you're teaching some cycle, like life cycle of a butterfly or something, anything. So they can write, they can even insert images and all, everything they can do within the boxes. So they will filter. So this is a template which you will be assigning in the classroom by making a copy for each student, and the students will be filling and giving it back to you. Now this is KWL chart. KWL chart is basically, K stands for what I know, W stands for what I want to know, and L stands for what I have learned. This KWL chart is a great way to empower students to own their learning, and it helps teachers curate the most engaging lessons. This is a wonderful activity. This activity can be done in the beginning of the class session, the concept or the lesson, and at the end of the lesson. Beginning of the lesson, you will ask them to fill what I know and what I want to know. You will assign it, make a copy for each student, and they'll write down what I already know about this and what I want to know. And then at the end of the lesson, what I have learned. There are so many benefits of using KWL chart. It demonstrates the level of knowledge and gaps in understanding. Motivates and engages students in the learning process. It tracks progress and learning outcomes. It offers flexibility that can be adapted to the lesson or students' needs. And it helps the students to recall knowledge and tracking their learning process. So this KWL chart is a wonderful option if you want to go in for that. Next, this is also one of the templates. This is basically, this is called a word web semantic map. Main idea, then secondary idea. I'll just zoom it. Main idea, secondary idea, tertiary idea. This way, this word web has been created. Basically, these types of word webs are created to visualize the meaning-based connections between the words and phrases, or a set of related words or concepts. So this mind map is also being created using Google Drawings. So this is how you can create the templates. You can assign it to the student. You can yourself create a mind map, share with the students as a viewable file. So this is a choice. So there's a lot of scope, and I think so far the best mind mapping tool is Google Drawing. There are many others are there, like Poplets, and I've seen so many, but so far I think Google Drawing is the best mind mapping tool. Very easy to make, very easy interface it has, so you can easily assign it to your students. Now we'll begin with Google Forms. So I'll just present my screen. Now I'm going to begin with Google Forms. Google Form is a web-based app used to create forms for data collection purposes. Students and teachers can use Google Forms to make surveys, quizzes, or event registration sheets. Google Form is a free online tool that can be used in the classroom to improve students' participation, engage them in their learning, and evaluate their learning. Moreover, it is user-friendly, easy to administer, and helps instructors save paper and time in grading assignments. As a component of G Suite for Education, Google Form is an economical way for educators to collect data and help them stay organized. Through Google Forms, you can view a student's work to track their progress, track class attendance for grading assignments, to conduct a quiz on a subject. There are so many advantages of using Google Forms. It is a free online tool that allows you to collect information easily and efficiently. The interface is very easy to use. Any user with an average internet knowledge can create forms using this tool. Google Forms stores the feedback received so we can analyze it in detail. The forms are integrated with Google Spreadsheets. Therefore, we can access to a spreadsheet view of the collected data. We can send the form by email, integrate it into our website, or send the link via social networks or any other means. Students can use Google Forms to answer exit questions at the end of the class, as well as an icebreaker activity at the beginning of the class. Videos, links, images can be added as well. If you love collaborating on documents and spreadsheets, then one of the benefits of Google Form is Google's collaborative capabilities through this app. One vital Google Form usage is its cross-platform compatibility, ranging from desktop browsers to smartphones. Each template design is responsive, which means that checkboxes, multiple choice questionnaire, text fields are easy to use by the participants, no matter which device they use it on. So let us learn how to create Google Forms. Okay, so the very first option is click on this Google App Grid. You see 9 dots here, Google App Grid. Go to Drive. Click on New. Here you will see the option Google Forms, this one. As you click on this option, a blank form will open. Second option, click on this Google App Grid. Directly there is a shortcut here. You see Google Forms over here. So as I click on this, so you can start creating a blank form. You can start with an existing template. Your previous made forms are also readily available over here. So let us start creating a blank Google form. This is the blank form. And it says it's untitled form. So probably the first thing you would like to do is to give it a title. So let's give it a title, Form 1. And the moment I clicked over here, automatically it has taken the name Form 1. Now, let's change the theme. So there is an option here at the top, on the right corner at the top, there is a theme. There is an option, Customize Theme. As I click on Customize Theme, it says Header. So you can choose any image for the header. So there are various options for the header. So you can go with any image. Let's say this is the image. I double clicked on it and the header is created. And according to the header, they have changed the color also. So this is a theme color. This is a suggested theme color. There are 4 colors they have suggested according to the image of the header. But if you want to change it, click on the plus sign below. There is a plus sign, theme color. So you can choose any color of your choice. There is variety, there's a slider. You can just select any color of your choice. So whichever color you choose, add it and you can select. The next is background color. So if you want to, it's just if a darker or lighter shade. So you want a darker shade of it, go with this. Lighter shade, this is background color. Whatever shade you have chosen, either it will be dark or on the lighter side, that you have to select. Font style. There are 4 font styles: basic, decorative, formal, and playful. So the best is basic. It's I think the best out of all 4. So the theme is done. We have customized it. Next option, next to customize, is preview, that I will be telling you in a while. When we create the form, then afterwards we'll see the preview of the form. Okay. Next is settings. So there's a gear icon. Google Form offers a variety of settings, which allows you to customize the form, how your recipients will use and interact the form. So there are a variety of settings are there. As I click on settings, you see there are general, presentation, quizzes. So let's go by each setting very quickly. General, collect email. If you click on this setting, then the emails of the recipients will be collected. They will have to first fill in the email, then they can start filling in the form. The next option, response receipts, is basically the respondents will receive a copy of the responses after they complete the form. So they will, in their email ID, they will receive the response. Require sign-in, limit to one response. So with this option, if you select this option, then they will be allowed to fill this form only once. And if you don't select it, they can give multiple responses in the Google form. So that you have to decide. If it's an exam, we can't allow them to give multiple responses, but if you are giving a practice test, you can leave it unchecked, because in that case, they can practice the test again and again. Respondents can edit after submit. With this option, they can edit the answers after the submission and see summary charts and text responses. They'll be able to see the summary of the responses you have received. In case you have given any sensitive information you don't want to share with your students, you may not want to choose this option, see summary, because this option will make all the responses you have received available to the students. Next is presentation. Presentation, show progress bar. If your Google form has got many questions, like 40, 50 questions. So if you click on this, if you select this, it will show the progress bar, 20% done. So when the students will perform the test, it will show the progress bar, 40% done, 50% done. This way, it will show the progress bar. Shuffle question order. Every time, if you click on this, then every time they open the form, the questions will be shuffled. Show link to submit another response. If you have not limited this form to one response, then automatically this will be checked, because it says if you don't want to limit it to one response, so automatically it will show the link to submit another response. Confirmation message. Confirmation messages, by default, it says your response has been recorded. But if you want to customize this confirmation message, you can always write down great effort, student, something that can be your own confirmation message. So you can customize accordingly. Otherwise, by default, it says your response has been recorded. So I'll change this presentation, great effort, students. Quizzes. Now, as I click on quizzes, here there is a switch. If I toggle the switch, then it gives me the access to all the options below. Make this a quiz. So as I click on this, make this a quiz, I've got the access to all the options. Let's check. Release grades immediately after each submission. If you select this, the grades will be released immediately after submission. The moment they submit the test, it will say view score, and they'll be able to view the score. Later, after manual review. So if suppose you have given some paragraph, long answer question, subjective type paper, then you might want to first go through the paper and then manually you will grade them. So these are the two options. Respondents can see. With this option, missed question, if you select this, they'll be after they complete their test and submit, they'll be able to identify which questions were answered incorrectly if you select this option. And if you select correct answer, so after they finish their test, it will show the correct answer for each question after the grades are released. And point values, it will show the total points and point received for each question after the grades are released. So we have done all the settings. Now save. The right side, there was an icon save, and I just saved it. Now let us start with, so automatically they have created a blank over here, email, because in the settings I chose collect email. So it's already been created. Now here, this is the template. Now there are various options are there to create questions. Let us go through the options. First is short answer, paragraph, long answer, multiple choice, checkbox, and drop down are more or less the same. And these are the most popular options in Google Form: multiple choice, checkboxes, and drop down. Then this is file upload. If you are taking some subjective exam, they can even scan their PDF, they can even scan their handwritten test and upload the file within the Google Classroom. So for subjective tests, file upload option is there. So handwritten test, anything they can upload in the form of the PDF. Then this is linear scale. Linear scale, probably you might have heard of 5-point scale, like how often you go for a holiday, never, sometimes, really, often, this way, all the time, something like that. So 5-point scale. Multiple choice grid, checkbox grid. So the MCQ questions in the form of a grid. And then date and time. The next option is date and time. If you're conducting a survey, then in that case, you want their birth dates. So you can use this option date. You are asking for their availability. You are organizing an event. You're asking for the availability of date and time. So in that case, this date and time option will be very, very helpful. Now, let us first start with name of the student. So let's start creating the form name of the student. This is my first thing. Here, now look here, the moment I wrote name of the student, automatically this Google form changed MCQ to short answer. And this is what I actually want. I want short answer. Automatically it has changed from here. So if it is not according to you, you can change it manually also. But by artificial intelligence, automatically, the moment I type name of the student, it has changed from MCQ to short answer. Otherwise, you can change manually from this option. Name of the student, okay, fine. I am now, just look at the few options over here. With this option, you can duplicate the question. So if that exactly same question of, suppose you're giving an MCQ and more or less the options are the same. So this option will be very helpful when you want to duplicate a question. Delete a question. You want to delete. Then this switch, if you toggle this switch, this will make this question a required question. So they will not be able to submit the form until they answer this question. So required means they will not be able to submit until they answer this question. Then there are 3 dots over here on the right side. So 3 dots, first is description. Any description to any particular question you want to give. You want to give any description to a question, you can give, there is an extra row here, description, if you want. If you don't want it, don't select it. Then the next is response validation. Response validation is basically you are allowing the rules for your recipients to submit the form. So rules can be something like when you're there filling the number, it should be greater than this number, it should be less than that number. Or if suppose you are you're collecting their email ID, so the text contains email. So if the email is not properly formatted, if they suppose in place of email, they write their phone number, it will show the error. You are setting the rules, and let's say the length of the character. So if it is you want 60 character count, 60 words limit. So if the word limit is of 60 words, if they write more, then it will show the error. So you are setting some rules with that. Basically, this is used when you're having the survey in wider audience, then we use the response validation where you are setting rules for them. So I have, as of now, I have not checked description and response validation. Right? If you want to add description to any question, you can use it. Done. Name of the student is done. Now I want to add another question. Please look at this floating menu on the right side. There is a floating menu, plus sign. You can add another question. Second is import question. So import question, when I click on import question, you have created any form earlier and you want to import any question from that form, you can directly import that question from the previously made forms. Okay. Then the next is add title and description. If you want to add any title or description to any of the question, or you want to divide the question into certain categories, you want to organize the question into certain categories like algebra, geometry, something like that. So you can assign categories to a set of questions within the Google form with this option, add title and description. You can add any image, you can add a video. Next one is add a video, and this is add section. Adding section will allow you to create additional pages in the Google form. And if suppose you have a lot of questions are there and you want to divide them up, so then you can go with add section. It will add additional pages within the Google form. So now I'm going to start with next question. So I'll go with the first option, add question. I'll click on this plus sign. As I click on this plus sign, the second template is ready. Let's type the first question. Okay, which chemical compound causes acid rain? This is the question. Then option 1. So here it says option 1, you have to write over here. So you just backspace and write down first option. Hydrogen dioxide, you're giving the second option. Just keep on entering and then next option will appear. Carbon dioxide, enter the next option 3, then you can straight away write down sulfur dioxide, enter, and option 4 you can fill in nitrogen dioxide. Then your question, and after that make this a required question. We want it to be a required question. I'm moving on to the question. So let's first create all the questions. Plus, again go to plus sign. Another template is ready. Start with the next question. Name a 5-sided polygon. Now here this is my question, name a 5-sided polygon. I don't want to be MCQ. I want it to be a short answer. I'll go to this option here on the right side where all the options open up. So let's make it a short answer text. So they will be writing the answer over here. Rather than MCQ, we'll be using the short answer. Then let's make this question the required. Just toggle the switch where it's written required. So this is a required question. Plus, next question, follow the same order. Identify the bird. Now you are going to show an image and they will be identifying the bird. Okay, so now look at the question, identify the bird. This way, now look at the right side here, it says add image, this option. With this option, you can add the image of the bird. So here, the moment you click on images, there are various possibilities. Upload camera, web camera, URL, photos, Google Drive or Google image search. So let's say I'm going to search for a bird, dodo, and enter. We'll pick up any image of this bird. Okay, this one. My question is identify the bird. So you can even resize the image. Let's resize it, make it a bit smaller. Okay, this is the bird the students have to identify. You give them 3 or 4 options. So let's say I'm giving them option. The first option is dodo. The next is woodpecker. So they will identify which bird is it, right? So you have given the image. Any other? Woodpecker, dodo, falcon. Okay, then these are the 3 options you have given and the student will be identifying which bird is this. Make this question a required question. Done. Okay, plus. I'm going to the plus sign again to add another question. This time we'll make a question like this. Which plant is aloe vera out of the given options? This time you will be giving them images and they have to identify which plant is aloe vera. Okay, so this is your question. Question is ready. Come to option 1. In option 1, this time I don't want to write the name. I want to upload the image. So option 1, right side, you see there is a symbol add image. There is an icon add image. So just in front of option 1. So as I click on add image, I'll go to Google image search. I'll search for aloe vera. Let's say this one. This is my first option. So students will see first option, this one. Then second is add option. As I click on this, option 2, again in front of option 2, there is an icon add image. Just in front of option 2. So I'm going to add another plant so that the student will have to identify. So let's say basil. Then search for basil and double click, it will be inserted, right? Next question, here it says add option, click on it, it says option 3, just on the right side of option 3, add image, add another mint. So mint, double click and it will be inserted. Okay, so you got one more option we can give. Okay, lavender. Yes. No, we don't have to write, sorry. We have to insert the image. So I am just going to insert the image of, so they will just find out which plant is aloe vera. So I'm just randomly choosing, just double click and it will be inserted. You have given 4 options now, and out of these 4 options, the child has to identify which plant is aloe vera. Make this question a required question, move further. Then next is now complete the MCQ grid. I'll show you how the MCQ grid looks like. MCQ grid. The moment I wrote MCQ grid, automatically you see here the option has changed. Otherwise, manually also I can do it, but automatically Google Form has changed the option multiple choice grid. So from here, now when you open the grid, it says rows and columns. This side rows, this side columns. So I'll just first fill in, then only you will get the idea. Many of you are already using it, so they might be knowing it. Let's say Ganga, trees, Mumbai, Holi. And these are the rows. Now columns. I'm filling in. It's something like match the following, something like oxygen, then festival, river, and city. Now, rows and columns are done. Make this require a response in each row. Make this a required question. I'll show you in the preview how it looks like. Okay. So you have filled the rows and columns, something like match the following: Ganga, trees, Mumbai, Holi, and in front it's written oxygen, festival, river, and city. So I'll show you in a while. Then last question, how well did you understand this chapter? So let's use the linear point scale as well. See how well did you understand the chapter? Automatically the option has changed to linear scale, and this is what I want actually. Automatically it's changed. Otherwise I can choose manually also, but automatically the moment I wrote how well did you understand the chapter, so Google Form has changed it. Now 1 to 5. 1 means, what does 1 mean? Not understood at all. 5-point scale. And 5 means very well understood. Very well understood. And let's make this a required question. Questions are ready. Now we'll have to fill in the answer key. Let's come back to the question. First question was, which chemical compound causes acid rain? Now look here, there is an icon answer key. Look here on the left side, there is an option answer key, right? As I click on answer key, select whichever answer is correct. Sulfur dioxide is the correct answer. The moment you select the correct answer, it will be highlighted. And then you have to give points. There are 2 arrows up and down. You can increase the points, you can decrease the point, you can write manually also. You can just type manually also. So let's give it 1 point. And now here it says add answer feedback. So as I click on add answer feedback, it is a customized feedback you want to give your student. Incorrect answer, what feedback you want to give them? Please read the chapter again, or you can even copy paste a link, related to that topic, that please go through this web page and study about it. If the answer is incorrect, they will be able to get this feedback. And if the answer is correct, then also you can give a customized feedback. Well done. If the answer is correct, well done. If it is incorrect, you can choose as I told you, you can write anything, try again, study, read this topic again, something like that, customized, save. So I have given a customized feedback for correct answer. When they will select the correct answer, they'll get a feedback, well done. Okay. Now 1 point, I've given the points and I've chosen the correct answer. Now please click on this done. This question is complete. Go to the next question. Click on this answer key. Every question has its own answer key. Click on the answer key, name a 5-sided polygon. So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is pentagon. Then you can write in all format. Like sometimes students, they choose capital, block letters. So you write down pentagon, you can give them instructions beforehand also that your answer should be in block letters. Or sometimes, all small letters, they write pentagon. So I am writing all three answers should be marked correct, whether all are block letters, small letters, or this way. Now, this option, mark all the answers incorrect. If you click on this option, mark all the answer incorrect, if there is an answer which does not match with this, does not have an exact match, will be marked wrong. Mark all other answers incorrect. So apart from these three answers, all other answers will be marked incorrect. But if there is an answer which is a close match, and if you don't select it, let's say you don't select this option, mark all other answers incorrect, then if there is an answer which is a close match of it, it will be left to you to grade manually. Okay? So it's a choice. Otherwise, I have written all three possibilities. But suppose sometimes children, one letter block, they have written one. So this way, if you leave it like that, then even if there is a close match, then Google Form will leave it up for you to grade manually. Then now you have written the correct answers, points. You have to give points from here. So 1 point, and then don't forget to click on done. Next question, click on the next question, go to the answer key, which is the correct answer, identify the word, dodo is the correct answer, it will be highlighted, and then points, you have to give it 1 point. So with the arrows up and down, you can increase the point, 1 point, and then click done. Then again, next question, go to the answer key of this question. Which plant is aloe vera? The very first option is the correct answer. It's highlighted, give it points, 1 point from this arrow, and done. And then next is multiple choice grid. Now this is multiple choice grid. It will look like this. Okay, but when you fill in the answer key, let's go to the answer key of multiple choice grid. I'm going to the answer key. This is answer key. So Ganga, what is the correct answer? Ganga is a river. Trees give us oxygen. Mumbai is a city, and Holi is a festival. These are the correct answers. So you are filling in the answer key and then assign the values. What points? For each answer, 1 point. So I'm assigning the values to each point. Okay. So 1, 1, I have given assigned the values. So this is very important. You have to assign points and then done. And the last question, how well did you understand the chapter? We don't need to give any points. This is a general question, a linear scale question. So now I have given the points, I filled in the answer key. You can see at the top total points 8. It will show the total marks. Whatever test you have created, the total points are 8 points now. Now let us check the preview of the test. So before you send the form, always check the preview, and you can even perform the test very quickly. So this is the option. You see over here at the top, just first is customize theme. Second one was preview. So as I click on preview, now it looks much neater. The form looks very neat. First it will ask for email. Okay, I'll just fill in my email, that my name of the student, which chemical compound causes acid rain. So I'll just quickly fill sulfur dioxide, name the 5-sided polygon. The answer is pentagon. So as a teacher, I'm first trying myself if everything is okay or not. Then identify the word. Okay, dodo is the correct answer. Which plant is aloe vera? Option 1 is the correct answer. Complete the MCQ. Ganga, river, trees, oxygen. Mumbai is a city. Holi is a festival. I've done. How well did you understand the chapter? 5. Very well understood. Okay. Now I have done. Let me submit the test, because I am going to check from all, ways that everything is fine. So I'm going to submit the test also. So great effort, students. I remember I wrote a confirmation message. So here it's so, otherwise by default your response has been recorded will come. View score, because I had chosen the option. So I'll just view my score, 8 out of 8. And this feedback, remember I told you customize feedback, that you can give this sulfur dioxide, so customize feedback. Well done. Suppose somebody selects wrong answer, the feedback can be open this link and read more about it, something like that. So this is the test, and you have checked the preview, all set, you have checked everything. Go back to your form. This is the form. Now I would like to share it with my students. Everything I have checked the preview also. Now to send, click on the send icon on the right side. When you click on the send, there are various options. You can send through email, direct link, through embedding, the third option, and fourth is by social networking sites. So email is directly from here only. Just click on the email with whom you want to select. So you can just type the email with whom you want to select, the title automatically it will take, and then and you can even add collaborator. You want to share this form with any of your colleagues. In that case, they will also receive the responses which you are receiving, and they will be able to edit the form. So if you're collaborating with anybody, any of your colleagues, you can add them as a collaborator in the same form. So this is one option. Directly from here, you can send the email. Send, there is a send option. Okay, just fill in the address and send it. Second option is this link. This is the most popular option and the easiest option, I think. This is a link they have created. Just copy this link and then go to your classroom and then add, there's an icon, add link. Just copy paste this link. Directly you can go. And then you can shorten the URL also, just to make it convenient, because that was the link was too big. So just to shorten it and make it look convenient also, we have just shortened the URL. Now there is a symbol here, copy. Just copy from here, go to your classroom, classwork, okay, create, assignment, add, and then go to link. And you have already copied that from there, paste it, add link. So from here, give the instructions, title, and you can assign with the point values. Now, as soon as you send the form, it's only a matter of time before you start getting responses. Okay, so to access the responses, look here. Now we have to see the results, the responses. So there is an icon over here at the top, responses. Just toggle this and it will automatically take you to the responses. There is a plus icon which says create spreadsheet. This is the symbol of a create spreadsheet. As moment I click on this spreadsheet, it asks you create a new spreadsheet, create. So I've clicked on create, and timestamp wise, all the students who have given the test, their email address, their scores, like here, you can see the timestamp, my email address, I have already performed this test, my score, name, what options I have chosen, everything on this Google spreadsheet. The entire result you will get in this Google spreadsheet. From here, view responses in sheets. Look here, the green icon. Then this 3 dots. When you open these 3 dots, if you want to get email notification for new response, every time somebody attempts, you want to get an email notification, click on that. Select response destination. You want to continue with the same spreadsheet, or you want to start with a new spreadsheet, so that you have to select whether you want to continue with the same spreadsheet or not. And then the third option is unlink the form. If you choose this option, then your new responses will no longer be sent to the spreadsheet. Then they will not be linked to the spreadsheet. So don't do that. Let it be linked to the spreadsheet. Download all the responses, print all the responses, or delete all the responses. Okay. Now here you can see summary of all the responses you have received, summary of all the responses, and here you can see the individual responses. Here it's only showing my name. It's like a drop-down menu. If suppose 50 students perform the test, when you click on this arrow, there will be a drop-down menu and all 50 students' names will appear. You can go to you can click on any of the names and then their answers will. So these are my answers, because as of now, I have only performed. So one option is go to the spreadsheet, all the entire result you'll be able to see from here. Second option is if you want to go to any individual response and see that form, so then you can, from this option, individual responses, you can get it. So this is all about, I have given you an overview of Google Form, and remember you can do there are so many ways you can use it. You can use it as exit card, any information, survey. You can do it all within the Google Form. You can do it. So Google Form is a great way to engage students remotely, and they can also save you a lot of time because of self-grading. And Google Form is a fantastic tool for teachers to enhance the way class works. It's a free online based platform that plays nicely with Google Classroom, and it's all cloud-based. Educators can use Google Forms to assess their students at the beginning of the class and gauge pre-existing knowledge or test their understanding at the end of the lesson. Furthermore, Google Forms can be used to give feedback and to receive feedback from students and parents. With this, we have come to the end of this webinar. I hope that you found the webinar informative and worthwhile. I'll be sharing the video recording in WhatsApp group so you can review it again. And I would like to thank everyone for joining in. It was a pleasure being with you all today. Thank you all once again. I request all of you to kindly fill the attendance and the feedback form and give your suggestions and valuable inputs. I'm posting the link in the chat box. Thank you.
Nidhi ma'am, I just want to ask you one thing.
Yes, ma'am.
How to insert math symbols in Google Forms? Like
Ma'am,
if
then-
I want to insert the symbol of degree, triangle, angle, or even exponents, I can't do it.
Yes, ma'am. There is an app called Equatio. There
Equation.
is an
That
app.
means we have to use that Equatio app only.
Yes. Otherwise, there is no option. I'm just sharing the form. Yes, there is no other option, ma'am. There is an app called Equatio. All mathematical symbols are possible.
From that only, no?
Yes. There is no other option, ma'am.
Okay.
But
Thank
in
you so much.
English, when we give a comprehension, there are 3 different paragraphs. Can we give? Will it be able to seen by the children? Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3.
Yes,
Is it
sister.
possible?
It is possible. If you are asking them, yes, subjective type of answers are very much possible, and you will be able to.
And also, I want to highlight a particular word and ask the meaning. Is it possible? That also.
No, sister. Highlighting is not possible. You can, you have to give feedback later on, because within the Google form, highlighting is not. You can customize feedback can be there.
And this paragraph changing is not seen actually.
Which paragraph, sister?
For example, if I give a comprehension with 3 paragraphs, so there is a question, paragraph 3, write the answer for the particular, write the meaning of a particular word. So that paragraph 3 is not separately seen in that.
Sister, then in that case, insert an image. Scan the paragraph and insert it as an image.
Okay.
Then it will be fine. So insert the entire paragraph, just scan it, and they will be able to view it as it is. Thank you.